Hey everyone, it's Laurel here. Thanks so much for stopping by. I'm here today to show you how I made this card using that adorable stamp set from Mama Elephant called Honey Bunny. And I'm also going to be showing you how you can make your own embossed background and using some other techniques with distress inks. I'm going to be starting off with this stencil from Simon Says Stamp. It's the Mosaic Heart stencil, and I'm going to be using it with some distress ink. So the first thing I'm going to do is just secure it down to my craft sheet there. That's some masking tape I just found on the scrapbooking aisle at Target. It was $2 or something like that. I'm all about trying to find cheap stuff. cheap stuff. And I'm going to be using this picked raspberry distress ink color. I absolutely love this pink. It's like a hot pink, but not a neon hot pink, if that makes any sense. I just absolutely love that color. And I'm just going to be applying it generously to that stencil, kind of not leaving it heavy-handed on the edges, but not so heavy in the middle, as you can see there. And I thought I was going to cut it out, which is what you see that I started doing there, and then I totally changed my mind. And I'm grabbing this heart die from that, also a die cut stamp set in die cut that Simon Says Stamp offers, and I'm just going to be die cutting out that heart there, and I absolutely love that. Love, love, love. And then I'm just going to go around the edges of that heart with that picked raspberry distress ink just to give it a little bit more dimension. I just love that color. Have I told y'all that yet? And now I am going to show you a couple of, I've already been playing with these bunnies. As soon as I got them, I started playing with them. I put them on some pattern paper by Lawn Fawn. A couple of those are colored with some colored pencils and Gamsol. Others are colored with Spectrum Noir markers. So much fun. I absolutely love that little polka dotted bunny right there, but I'm not going to use it, but I do really love it. I love that pattern paper. It's so cute, but I decided that I'm going to color it. But before I do, here's a little tip on inserting brush nibs. I use Spectrum Noir markers. I absolutely love them. I have the entire set of them. And what's unique about these markers is they have a bullet tip, and then they also have a chisel tip side, but they recently came out with brush tips as well. So you can replace the chisel tip end with the brush tip, and you can see there when you open the pack, one side of it is white and the other side is cream. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your marker, and they're labeled on the actual marker, chisel tip and bullet tip, and you're going to go to the chisel tip edge. You can use tweezers, wet wipe, whatever, if you don't want to get your finger all inky, and you're just going to pull out the chisel tip, and you're going to take the cream in and insert it down into the marker there. Now I got smart and decided to use tweezers from here on out because I didn't want my inky hands to contaminate my brush nib. But anyway, that's all you do, and then it'll start refilling there, and you'll see that on the screen in a second. So again, you just pull out the chisel tip, and then you insert the brush tip. So I love these markers because you now have a bullet tip and a brush tip. I never really used the chisel tip, so that's no loss to me. But anyway, so I kind of shook it down. I kind of pointed the marker down for just a second just to get that ink flowing, and then you'll see the tip start to fill up here. That's my blender pen, so you're really not going to see any ink there because blender is obviously clear. But as you can see, it's slowly starting to fill up there, that tip. So I really love these markers because I don't know, I have Copics as well. I don't want y'all to think I don't, and I like this as well, but I do like that these markers give you that bullet tip. So that's good for areas that you know, little fine areas, little small areas you need to get into. So as you can see, that ink is kind of gradually going down into the tip. I don't know why I'm showing all this. I thought y'all might be as intrigued as I was watching it slowly move down the brush tip. So that's it. So if you get these markers and you like them, they do have brush nibs available so you can get the best of both worlds. So now I'm going to go into coloring. Now I'm just going to go ahead and full disclosure, I am not the best colorer. I try, and I know that there's certain rules, and you start with the light and you blend with the dark, whatever. I don't do any of that. I just kind of wing it just like I do my card making. I don't do sketches. So I'm using BT1, BT2, and BT3. I love this turquoise. This is my favorite color. So it's no surprise that I put the brush tips on some of those to start out with. Now I'm starting with the bullet tip. I wanted to show you coloring with the bullet tip there, and getting in around those ears is good with the bullet tip because they're so, you know, they're small intricate areas. And if you use die cuts, you know that you always get that white like trim around the edges when you use die cut. So that's why it's important not to go outside the lines. Here I'm cutting it out, so it really didn't matter about staying in the lines. And now I've switched to the brush tip here, and I just love it. You can do all the feathering and all the fun stuff. I love it. You get the best of both worlds. with these markers. So I'm just playing around again. I'm sure I'm doing this all wrong, so don't judge me. I just love this color. I'm just infatuated with these pretty turquoise colors, teal colors. So there I go. I'm trying to add a little bit of shading down there to the bottom of the bunny and around the face and so forth and so on. And then I'm going to grab a pink marker. I think this is pale pink 1 and pale pink 2 to give it a little, pink nose and some blood, little rosy cheeks. And then I'll just blend it in with my BT1 marker and we are good to go. And then I'm just going to cut that out off camera because I'm a terrible fussy cutter. You can actually see how bad of a fussy cutter I am. So don't judge me there. I want to show you the background that I made there. A lot of people don't necessarily have embossing machines and die cutting machines and embossing folders. So I've got a score pal here. I think this is by Martha Stewart. But if you have a paper trimmer, you can also use the guideline of your paper trimmer. And I'm just basically scoring straight lines to just give you a little embossed background. And you'll see it here up here in a second. So you could turn it sideways and make yourself a grid pattern. You can turn your paper diagonal and make diagonal patterns. There's a lot you can do with your scoreboard or your cutting board, whatever you've got. Now this is peacock feathers, excuse me. This is by far my favorite distress ink. Now I know I'm not taking any care in the world. I know that you can see all of the kind of rectangular marks there with my sponge because I'm not starting off the paper and working my way on, but that's okay. I wanted to do that on purpose. I sprayed that paper very, very heavily with water. Now, this is not watercolor paper. Had I known I was going to do this, I would have used watercolor paper to avoid the warping of that paper. That is Picket Fence Distress Paint. You could use Picket Fence Distress ink, or you can use whatever white ink you have on hand. And I seem to be into this like whitewash look. So I'm purposely like mushing my paper into where all of those like splotchy areas were that I made with my sponge dauber. And then you get this super cool background that I'll show you in a second. Now I stamped the sentiment "I'm all ears" on paper, trimmed it down, and I'm just using my scoreboard and I'm scoring 2 little lines side by side each other so I can do this gateway fold type thing, and then I come up with my own little banner here. Super easy. So there's the background there all dry, and I'm going to apply a crap ton of adhesive on the back of this because it's so warped from all the water I used. And I'm just going to adhesive that baby up there. And then can you see the whitewash and stuff? And do you see how it blends in perfectly with all the splotchiness that I put on there with the sponge applicator? So see, I totally did that on purpose. I know you don't believe me, but I did. So I am putting that heart up with a bunch of foam dimension. Those are Best Creation foam dimension squares. Super cheap. I think you get a whole sheet for under $1. I'm popping up that adorable bunny. And then I'm going to take that "I'm all ears" sentiment there. And I'm going to apply the tips just with some glossy accents, which is a super hold adhesive. You can use it more than just making your stuff shine. And I'm going to squirt a little blob right underneath there because I want to make sure that sentiment doesn't fall off in the mail. So that's it. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. I had so much fun with this Mama Elephant stamp set. It's absolutely adorable, and I really appreciate you all. And thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.